Hey, this is Julie Murphy with Arizona Farm Bureau, and I'm here with one of my best buddies,
Yay!
Jan Diatri.
I miss you.
I miss you.
It's so good to see you.
So, why we're here is I'm beginning a new series. I'm featuring all our chefs, and Jan was gracious enough to come on first.
Oh,
There's a couple things I want to say about Jan. So, in my eyes, you're a local media celebrity,
oh.
but you're kind of like not doing the media thing anymore, right?
Not really. No.
You're teaching classes. So
You're starting a new chapter with this. I'm starting a new chapter in life.
right, exactly.
Yeah.
So we're here and we're going to talk about Jan's new adventures and everything she does. So Jan, tell us a little bit about, what's my first question? We've got some catching up to do. Yeah. So give me an update on your latest culinary adventures, as I like to call them.
Thanks, Julie. So good to see you. So, I was in the media for 46 years, and 2 years ago I retired. But the kitchen has always been my happy place.
Right.
It's always been my roots. I grew up in the kitchen of a very well-known restaurant in Lake Tahoe. Then we had restaurants here in Arizona. We had a gourmet food company. So when I left the media, the kitchen was the perfect rehoming for me. So
rehoming
for me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now you're teaching cooking classes, and where exactly are we? We should give some props to the store.
Oh,
you
absolutely.
Literally come into it, and it's a cornucopia of all of the things you need to be a good chef at home.
Yeah, Sweet Basil Culinary Center is really my happy place, and then the kitchen here is the happy place within the happy place.
Yeah.
But we are a recreational cooking school and also a beautiful store that has everything you need to be a cook, a good cook, a better cook. And so we teach tons of classes, and I teach everything from Italian, of course,
awesome.
to cheese making, to tamale making, sausage making. We do French, Mediterranean, Middle Eastern. We teach knife skills.
Wow.
We teach charcuterie boards, and of course we teach the trends that are happening right now. But basically what we want to do is just make sure people have a good foundation to just have fun in the kitchen.
Right.
That's what it's all about.
So you could help me, the non-cook. I mean, you could teach me.
Oh, yeah. Oh, could I ever?
I use GPS to get here, but give us some directions. I mean, where exactly are you? What's the mall or
Right.
strip
We
center?
are at the northeast corner of Pinnacle Peak and Pima.
Okay.
It's the La Mirada Shopping Center, and some of the famous landmarks are Mastro's and Jade Palace and AJ's. But we're right here, Pinnacle Peak and Pima, and we've been in the valley 30 years, but we just moved to this location 2 years ago.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So it's fresh and sparkling and clean and all kinds of fun things to buy.
So I call you a media celebrity to me. I mean, you've been in media here in Arizona for quite some time. Talk about
years.
What's made you such a lifestyle culinary voice here in Arizona.
Well, Julie, I don't know if I can answer that. That's something you would have to answer for me. But I think
You're humble.
but I think to be a voice of any state, you have to love that state. That's where it starts. And I was only going to be here 1 year. Back in 1979 when I started my television career. Yep, Phoenix was a stopping point. I was going to go on to bigger markets. And I fell in love with the lifestyle, the people, the farmers, the local products, the heritage, the Hispanic, the Mexican, the New Mexican, the Texas.
The Tex-Mex?
The Tex-Mex, it's all here. And I thought, why would I go anywhere else?
Right.
So but I think that's what happens. You become a voice for something if you believe in it and you really love it.
Right.
And I've embraced Arizona and you guys, every one of you, since I got here 46 years ago, and this is home. I would never want to be anywhere else.
So when you said you were only going to be here for a year, was that because you guys were already your famous restaurant in Lake Tahoe, what was the name of it?
It was called Diatri's.
Diatri's, duh. So you were maybe going to be here temporary and then go back to that, or what?
So I came to do a television show. And so I was going to go on to New York or Chicago to do bigger television productions, right? And the food thing, so I've always had two parallel careers, the restaurant industry, the food industry, and then my media.
Sure.
And they've just kind of gone along parallel until I retired 2 years ago. And now I'm all in on food, cooking, farmers, local products.
And your first love, really.
Absolutely.
And
absolutely.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but was most of your media stuff with TV 12?
Yeah. Well,
it was TV in general, but...
Right. So 27 years on Channel 3.
Okay.
17 years on Channel 12.
Okay.
And then I've been writing for the newspapers and then radio shows on KTAR and KFYI.
Sure.
Which you were a regular on my radio show for many years.
I love that. So, and that's where we really got to know each other.
That's right.
So pausing for station identification, so to speak, as you well know as a broadcast journalist, Julie Murphy with Arizona Farm Bureau, and I'm here with Jan Diotri, one of my favorite people when it comes to the culinary arts and the media celebrity in my eyes. I know you don't like to say that, but I love to say that. And if anybody's joining us live, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to put it in the comments section. FYI, we started a little bit early right now just because we're behind this bookshelf that's full of wonderful cookbooks. They're having a cooking class, and they're being so gracious to us. They're kind of being quiet
when they should be banging away and
chopping onions and stuff like that. You know, it makes me think, speaking of some of the things about, I always relate it to a movie that I really enjoyed, Julie and Julia.
Oh, God, love that.
And Julia Childs, what she started with. So they were in France because her husband was part of the U.S. Department, I think, federal government agency right after
Paul.
Paul during World War II and after, and they sent them to France next, and she was kind of bored. She didn't know what she wanted to do, but she goes, I love food, and
That's right.
Great movie that kind of tells her story.
It really does. And the first time I learned how to really correctly chop an onion, I was just like Julie in the movie, or Julia, where you would, I just had a pile of onions, just chopping away. It was so much fun, you know. And that's the thing, Julie, that I wanted to tell you about food and cooking, is there's such a, it's so therapeutic. It's recreational, it's therapeutic, but it just really gets to your heart because all the senses in the kitchen come alive.
Right.
It's the only, if you think about it, it's the only room in your home where all the senses come together. Sound, touch, taste, smell. You know, it's all there. Yeah. And it just only enhances your experience. Tactile.
Yeah, everything's so tactile with cooking. So it can build a relationship. And then when we all sit down to the table as family and friends, and it's like fellowship.
It is. It's my dream for America is to get families back to the kitchen table, have a meal together, maybe not 3 like we used to, but have a meal, an evening meal together, catch up on the day. The kitchen table is where your heart is broken and you heal. It's where memories happen. It's where anniversaries happen. It's where eulogies happen. That kitchen table is our world, you know.
We're having a lot of mental health issues. Maybe part of the healing process would be if we'd get around our kitchen tables a little bit more.
Yeah, and maybe,
based on what you just said.
I agree, and maybe make those conversations neutral, because everything is so charged in our world today, and everybody is so divisive, and everybody has an opinion. But the kitchen table and the family is catching up on your day. It's learning about your mom and dad and your grandma and her stories. It's learning about our stories, right?
Yeah.
We've talked about this for years, you and I.
Yeah.
It's about the
stories. Yes. So before we go on and before I ask the next question, so these are some of your
spatuloons.
So they're kind of a combo spatula and spoon.
Yeah.
So I wanted to make sure people saw these, and you're selling them in the store.
Right. I created these a few years ago because they're bamboo, and a lot of times people get sick because there is there's a what do you call it?
Like a splinter.
A splinter. Thank you. A splinter, and that's where bacteria grows.
Okay.
So if you've got a cutting board that has a splinter or wooden spoons, toss them out. But these are bamboo, They're for righties and lefties. They're tapered, so they're
yay.
kind of fun.
I have my own set.
Oh, good. I'm glad.
I bought my own set. And then, even though I don't cook much, I have Jan's spatulas or spatulas.
She plays it on radio, TV, social media.
Yeah. And then Jan's Rescued Recipes. I also have this book. Tell the story about why you got inspired to do these rescued recipes.
So this is our second book. The first book was called Mama and Me and You. And the first book was all about our family traditional heritage recipes and the famous recipes from our restaurant. So we were on book tour throughout the country. We sold it on QVC and we were touring the country. And every place we went, my mom and I, people would go, oh, this reminds me of my grandmother. I never got her chocolate chip cookie recipe before she passed. Or people would go, I still have 3 of my mom's meatballs in the freezer. I've had them there for 40 years. It's my last link to her. Oh my gosh.
It's heartbreaking.
It is heartbreaking. Yeah. And we met a lady whose grandmother would mix the cookie dough batter in the tub because she made so many cookies for the neighborhood.
Really?
The batch was so big, she could only use the tub.
Don't take a bath story that day. She's good at making cookies.
Story upon story. So I looked at my mom. We were in Bakersfield, California. And I said, Mom, we have another book to write. So the Rescued Recipes is all about your stories from all across the country. Stories of family recipes and we wanted to grab them before they were forgotten and lost.
And it's just amazing. Yeah. So besides the recipe, then in this book, you're telling that family stories.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep, absolutely.
And you say from all over the country. Yeah. Any from Arizona?
Oh, lots from Arizona.
In
fact, I think there is a recipe in here from the Arizona cotton farmer wives. I think so. Yeah.
Would it be Tiffany Shedd?
Maybe.
We'll have to look that.
She's awesome.
Like I said, I have the. Have I cooked from it yet?
Yeah.
But
it's time, Julie. It's time to get in the kitchen, girl.
Well, and this is a good segue because I truly would need the cooking classes because I just would need them.
Yeah. We all do.
Confessing. So what inspired you to then segue to teaching average Americans like me how to cook?
Yeah. I was a little worried because it kind of happened by accident. When I retired from the media, I was just going to go fish the rest of my life.
Oh, yeah, because you're a fly fisher, right?
Yeah. And Marty Sullivan, who owns Sweet Basil Culinary Center, she and I have been friends for years and years. So she said, hey, you got more time on your hands. How about teaching a guest cooking class? So I did. I did another one and another one.
She exploited your availability.
Before you knew it, I was here part-time, then full-time, and now I'm helping with the retail and cooking. So my second career is fuller, more fulfilling. And why is it more fulfilling? I get an opportunity to help. You know me, I've always loved to help.
Right.
And if I can give people confidence, even one person confidence in a day, there's such a joy. My heart is so full.
Right.
So I love being able to see people come in the class and go, I don't know how to boil water. And they come out making boeuf bourguignon and they go, I did
I love that.
And I can do it again. You know, it's just every day my heart explodes.
It explodes with joy. And we need more of that. So before I ask the question of, you being a great advocate, you're basically an urban farmer yourself. So
it just happened when you popped in today. I was bringing my chicken eggs up to the gals up here.
And I'm nervous. If I pick one up, I'll drop it and break it. But these are your eggs from your backyard.
Yeah, these are like 18 hours old.
Wow.
So I think I would definitely, had I not gotten into the media, I think I would have been a cowgirl or a farmer somewhere.
Yeah.
Somewhere in Arizona.
Right.
Yeah. But the second best thing for me was having such an appreciation for our Arizona farmers and ranchers. They are amazing.
They are.
I just got that. My heart goes out to our farmers these days because they're in a dilemma. And you can speak to that more than I can, but it's just from observing. These farmers have been in it for decades, from one generation to the next, and now all of a sudden the kids don't want to farm.
A lot of them don't.
I just got back from Portugal, the home of port, wine and Madeira wine.
Oh, wow.
They are in a real dilemma because the young kids don't want to harvest the grapes and they don't want to stomp the grapes.
They don't want to take over the farm at all.
Not at all.
Wow.
So Portugal is fairly poor, so they can't automate quickly. So now what they're doing is they're spreading the vines out wide enough so that machinery can come in. And I see our farmers and what they're, what's going to happen to the family farm if the young generation doesn't want to do it.
Right.
And so I don't know what the answer to that is, but I see it.
It's hard.
It is hard.
Well, what it causes is there's a lot of consolidation. It still might be owned by a family, but because the farm down the road may be sold out and maybe the family that's still farming, they'll take over that land. Maybe it's a lease too, but there's a lot of consolidation. The fortunate thing, and that just came out in the latest Census of Agriculture, we still have 95% of our Arizona farms and ranches are family owned. So that's a good thing.
Amazing. Yeah,
but I mean, we have families that they're making a priority of helping that next generation if they truly want to come back to the farm, to making a way so that they can do it.
Right.
Arizona Farm Bureau's insurance side, which is Farm Bureau Financial Services, since you said it, I'm going to share that they do succession planning. And that's one way to kind of, if they have all the business management part of it in order, they'll, it's going to be easier for that next generation to take it over if they want it. But that's the challenge today is how are we raising our kids to be willing to work as hard as some of our farmers work.
Yeah, and that's the dilemma.
It's not easy. So I kind of think you've answered that question, number 4. But, so when you have your students in the class, do you share with them any of the things that you've experienced or learned just because of hanging out with us for so many years?
All the time. All the time. One of the things about being in the, I don't know if you're going to talk about the trends that are going on.
Right, that's my next question.
Oh, okay. So one of the trends is really eating local and fresh. The Mediterranean diet is popular for a number of reasons, but the main reason, and being Italian, we grew up like this, is you use a few ingredients, but they're clean, they're fresh, they're good quality.
Often picked right off the vine.
Often picked
if
right
you have
off
that
the
opportunity.
vine. Right. Yep. Our cantaloupe farmers, our lettuce farmers, Yuma. The Yuma is so important to globally. Mm-hmm. People don't realize how much flour and durum wheat and stuff comes out of Yuma that goes to Italy to make the pasta, which
then
gets
comes back
exported to us, and we pay for it. It's amazing.
Yeah.
So, we're all connected.
Right, we are connected.
But people really want to know their farmers. They want to know what's grown locally. I think there's a real movement to support local businesses, but mostly local farmers and ranchers.
And if you're curious about where you can go to get local, just remember fillyourplate.org. That's a website sponsored by the Arizona Farm Bureau, and you can always do search for farmers markets, because a lot of times that's like, speaking of picking fresh, you can certainly find some of that. What I love about farmers markets is sometimes you're finding a unique item, like it may be basil, but it's a different variety of basil.
Exactly.
So sometimes the varieties within a specific fruit or vegetable are really fun to discover at the farmers market that you might not always see at the grocery store.
That's true.
Now, because of the rules and regulations, the freshness in our grocery stores is that's high on their list too, because if it's not fresh, and just know that during the winter, whether that'd probably be late November all the way through April, most of your leafy greens are obviously coming from Yuma, or also Pinal and Maricopa County. Your dairy case, the majority of it, 97% of your fluid milk is coming, and you can verify that with a code. It's just 04 in the beginning. When you look at some of the codes in the back and the label, and a lot of people don't know that.
Yeah.
But if we're going to be lazy about it, Shamrock Farms, that's local. Our yogurts, a lot of those dairy products are definitely local. And then we've got, Jan has some amazing hens, but she can't provide for all of you.
I'd love to.
Yeah,
I really would.
to. But the Hickmans are doing an awesome job of that. And Even though a lot of time, I know, even though you'll mostly see the store brand, the majority of the grocery stores are carrying the Hickman eggs.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a local product. And then even in your meat case, and I always repeat this just so people understand the level of local that you can find in a regular grocery store, is even in the meat case, a fairly recent study that was done by, I think it was Arizona Cattle Growers and also Arizona Beef Council,
mm-hmm.
about 52% of the meat in the meat case can be traced to Arizona beef.
Wow.
The sad thing is that, because we like to connect to the farmer or the rancher,
mm-hmm.
and it's not necessarily labeled for that. So again, one of the things you can do, oftentimes, if you're going to a really quality farmer's market, a lot of times the beef producers will be selling their product at the farmer's market. Or again, go to fillyourplate.org and you can put beef in the search window and up will pop. Now it's out. It used to only be about 25 producers, 50 beef producers.
Wow.
That will sell directly to you. It got very popular, and that's why our numbers exploded during the pandemic.
Yep.
Because everybody was like, okay, I'm a little bit nervous. What are our food supply chains going to result in?
Right.
And a lot of our ranchers, because they were getting asked so often, decided, okay, I can do this. And we still need more regional processing plants for our beef. We don't quite have enough. But I think we're going to get there. That's my hope. So, but Jan has been one of our greatest advocates
mm-hmm.
for agriculture. And
I love our farmers and ranchers.
Yes.
And fillyourplate.org, you were really one of the first websites across the country to really profile the farmers and ranchers and their stories and their families and their new processes and how they're transitioning from the hoe to technology. It's a fascinating story to watch.
It really
is. You've been profiling and documenting it from the beginning. So
it's a great resource. So much fun with it. And I always say that I could be at this for another 20, 30, 40 years.
And you will.
I'm not that much of I'm not as young as I used to be, but there would still be a story to tell.
We're getting better.
We're getting better. Just like wine. It gets better with age. So back to cooking. Back to cooking and the kitchen. Talk about some of the food trends.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so there's a lot of them, I think, right now. We talked about local and fresh and really getting to know your farmer and going right to the source. That's a biggie. So based on that, we do a lot of plant-based cooking here. Another trend is sous vide, and that is where it's literally cooking food, reverse engineering cooking, putting it in a bag, bringing it to temperature in water, and then you pull the steak out and then you grill it to finish it off. So it's
awesome.
It's really a huge trend, and people are buying their sous vide units. Air fryer cooking is insanely popular. I think
is it because of the speed? It speeds the cooking up, or what?
It's everything. Number one, you can fry food without oil, and have French fries and not have to douse them in vegetable oil. It's quick, it's convenient, and now the air fryers come with, it's a convection oven, it's an air fryer, it's a toaster, it's a proofer, all in one.
Mm-hmm.
And in Arizona, you don't have to fire up the oven. It's all right there and very compact. But it's convenient, it's easy to use. Everybody can own one instead of a $13,000 stovetop. You can cook just about anything in an air fryer. The chef who's teaching today, Amy Barnes, she is a master at air frying, so people flock to her classes. Other trends, grilling is making a big comeback. Chopped salads, hugely popular.
Cool.
Anything plant-based. Sourdough, because of COVID, I'm not sure how that happened or what happened, but everybody's making sourdough.
Is it the relational aspect of it? Because for the person that's making the bread, maybe a lot of it they're doing it by themselves. But then when
you're breaking bread.
Yeah,
maybe sharing it.
And there's something about sourdough that I don't know.
It might go back to a wonderful process. It takes time. You get to watch it develop. You get to put it in the oven and, like you said, share it. So it's wonderful. And a lot of people that are gluten intolerant can eat sourdough French bread, especially if you make it yourself.
Okay.
So that was another big deal too.
So the other thing might be then, based on what you just said, is because it takes time, and during the pandemic, maybe
people had nothing but time, right?
It's like,
you can sit around and watch bread rise for 6 hours, and it's no big deal.
No problem.
Well, and I think during COVID, people started doing things that took time, that they didn't have time for. Getting animals. And then unfortunately, after they started getting busy again, those animals went right back to the shelters, which is another story entirely. But yeah, I think COVID changed
a lot of things,
the way we do things and the way we think.
And it kind of made home cooking popular again, too. I hope that doesn't wane. It has a tendency to do that. But, I mean, we get into a trend. But one of the things you said at the very beginning of this interview that is a trend that will always be a trend: local and fresh.
That's right. That's right.
And we
even
should
more
be,
now than ever with all the preservatives that we're worried about and stuff. Yeah.
So we should be doing our own cooking, and it should be local. It should be fresh. If you're in the grocery store, your local grocery store, you shop the perimeter because it's easier. The more you get into the inner part of the store, you're going to end up risking getting more processed food, which
cans and boxes.
Yeah, right. Now
Shop
there's
the
some
perimeter.
baking box mixes that can maybe be fun, but
yeah. Oh no, I have no problem with some things that are ready made. So
yeah. So my last question, then maybe we'll take a little bit of a tour. Joel, is there anybody that has any questions? If they don't, that's fine.
We had one comment talking about especially locally owned farms.
Oh yeah.
That was earlier, so I'm not sure what it is.
So if they were asking, so go to fillyourplate.org again, and one of the newest searchable databases that we put up is farms that you can visit. So if you have a smartphone and you're up in Prescott, you can do a search and find out what farms you can go visit. And one of them up in that area is, I mentioned them before, Mortimer Farms.
Great family.
And talking about fresh and local, I mean, they're picking daily a variety of fruits and vegetables, and you can also pick, but you can also go into their store and pick out some of the produce. But you can do the same thing at Apple Annie's if you're down south in Cochise County. You can do the same thing. Pull up the Fill Your Plate website. It's mobile friendly, and you can search for farms to visit. So there's Apple Annie's. What else is out there? We have all the wine tasting places.
Pecan trees and walnut trees and apple orchards and peaches. And,
we have so much. Yeah. So
cantaloupes.
There's a lot of local. In our melons, the watermelon, this is National Watermelon Month. So get a watermelon, and you can get those either in the grocery store. We have a higher probability of getting a local Arizona watermelon in your local grocery store, and you would certainly, if you went to one of the farms that you can visit, and they have farm stores. Marana Pumpkin Patch. Now they're seasonally kind of seasonally open, but they're opening more around the holidays, and they have a lot of fresh foods and stuff that you can.
You know what else is really fun too, like Schnepp Farms or Young.
Right.
They have You Pick It, where you go out and you pick your own buckets of food and produce and pumpkins. And that is so much fun, especially what a neat field trip for kids.
Right.
When I think of Wendell and Rhonda Crow with Crow's Dairy, if you go, take the kids out there, they've got 150,000 beautiful little goats that are running around, and she's named them all. That's the thing about farmers. Farmers have a kind heart because they care. They pluck something from the earth, or they watch a chicken, and there's an appreciation. How can that not transcend? How can that not? How could that not rub off on the kids? Care about something, appreciate it, pray over it, be thankful for it, and then enjoy it.
And I think that's why a lot of our farmers and ranchers are people of faith, and it might come from all denominations and stuff. They got to pray a lot, and make sure that the next thing we're leaning on the Lord a lot heavier than you would normally. So my last question about this cooking is, what's the most important cooking tip you'd give our listening audience today? And certainly somebody like me that, when I try it, I normally can do it, but
But you don't try it.
I know. I don't try it enough.
So that's a good question. That's a big question. What would I say? First of all, get in the kitchen. Bring the kids in the kitchen. Bring hubby in the kitchen. Bring grandma. Find out how she did something. Get the family stories. Then once you're in there, Joy, who cares if you've oversalted something? Who cares if you burnt something? You have 365 days to do it again.
To perfect it.
Right? And not even perfect it, just to make it good.
Yeah.
And so I would say get in the kitchen, make a commitment to just read a recipe. And then once you know, the more you cook, the better you get. Be safe in the kitchen, learn knife skills, know the importance and the value and respect that knife. Know that dull knives create more accidents in the kitchen than sharp knives.
Yeah.
Because you're always fighting to slice something instead of a nice clean cut. And I would say just have fun. Don't stress. Don't let food or cooking intimidate you. It's fun. It's therapeutic. It's recreational. And then when you make something, if you made me a banana nut bread and brought it to me, you would be my friend for life because you've done something that you made with your hands out of your kitchen.
And took the time to do it.
Took the time to do it. So find a bread or something and make it cookies and make it for somebody, and you will feel so good about yourself too.
That's awesome. Okay, you've inspired me. So stay tuned. So we're going to do a little bit of a walk around, and even though we may not always be on camera, the mics they'll hear from us. So Joel, I'll just let you kind of. So we're going to go this way.
Okay.
And thank you.
These are all of our olive oils and our great food products. We sell a lot of products from Stonewall Kitchen, which everybody seems to really love. Yeah. And then we've got everything. We've got coffee and tea items here. Really a beautiful display of gourmet foods.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, I just love the way you guys have it laid out here. You know,
it's very fun. It's a fun place to shop, and we've sort of become a place where people come for host gifts or last minute gifts. Then when you come back to the gadget section, you're not going to believe all the things that are there.
And let's pause a little bit at the kitchen. They're doing a kitchen.
So yes, so this is we have a class starting up at noon. Amy Barnes, who's been a great chef in the Valley for many years, worked with, and this is our owner here, Marty Sullivan. Come here, Marty, say hi. Yeah. So Amy's prepping for a class called Lunch and Learn every Friday at noon. We give people a break. She does the cooking, and she does a beautiful 3-course meal, and people come and just learn. And Amy is an amazing storyteller. She's got many stories from Gainey. She opened up the Hyatt Gainey in Austin, worked at the one here, worked with the top chefs at the time.
Wow.
And so her knowledge, her information is massive. And she's fun, too. So we love you, Chef Barnes, so much.
That's awesome.
So what are you making today?
I am doing a turkey tenderloin seared with little chipotle powder. And then I'm going to be doing a seared corn. I have some fresh Arizona corn.
Oh, awesome.
And I'm going to make a nice corn ragu to go on top.
A corn
green
ragu.
chili Yukon mashed potatoes.
Mashed potatoes.
Then a caramelized banana fool with a mascarpone mousse.
Ooh.
Everyday food.
And another individual that loves to cook like you. And
she's wonderful.
You're sharing your talents with so many people. That's what I love.
And Amy's been here, 14 years?
Much longer.
A long time.
I came 2 years after Marty opened.
Oh, my God.
I had run a restaurant called The Impeccable Pig, and then they closed. It burned down. So,
God bless.
but I had taken classes at Sweetways.
Okay.
Bringing out-of-town people. So
Awesome.
I knew I wanted to always work here. So.
Amy, it was good to meet you.
Yeah.
I will be back.
We'll be back for lunch, Amy.
You may be my next victim. You may be my next guest. So we
talked about knives. We have a wonderful, wonderful selection of knives that are German blade from Germany, Hammerstall.
And
really
it's
important.
a good brand, and you like what's your favorite, or should I even ask that?
You know what? You always want to start with a good chef knife. That's going to be your workhorse in the kitchen.
Okay.
That'll do 90% of your work. You want a good paring knife. We've got blocks where you've got your steel here, so you're always, making sure that your knives are honed and sharpened.
I would love to see you sharpen a knife.
Well, I'll tell you what, you know who the master at sharpening knives? This girl right here.
Amy, will you show us how you hone
do a demo just for fun?
I will. So I hold it away from myself. And what does that do when you sharpens it and makes it nice and smooth? You have a nice easy cut. So, and I do it away from myself.
And look at how quick her wrist is working that. I love that.
Don't make me turn it on. But really nice and sharp, really, because that's how you avoid getting injuries if you have a sharp blade. So,
all right.
And you never touch the sharpening.
Oh, okay.
Because
of the oils in your hands.
Julie, what happens with a knife, the reason it gets dull, first of all, we sharpen knives here, or you can, there's places in town, but when you use a knife and you're cutting it on a hard surface, the blade is made up of millions and millions of teeth. So as you're cutting, those teeth tend to bend. And what honing, this is a steel or a hone, and what that does is that just realigns that edge and brings it right up. It's not going to make it sharper than it already was, but it's going to bring it right back in realignment with the sharpness that you have. Very important. Amy picks up the hone every time she cooks. I would like to think I do, but I don't. And but it's an important tool. And that's the thing about sweet basil as you walk around. Something like this is so popular. And this is just a jar opener. As we get older, sometimes it's harder to open jars, and people love stuff like this.
Yeah.
I'll show you some.
Oink, oink. Yeah. I need that one for Arizona Pork Council.
Cutting boards, all sorts of safety supplies that you need. And then over here we have the gadgets. And this is sort of the lifeblood of sweet basil. These are all the things that a cook really needs in their kitchen. So whisks and
all sorts of fun
and
stuff.
graters and
Now, why would you need a mortar that's this little?
For if you're just doing a few peppercorns.
Oh, I get it. Okay.
Yeah. I'm going to show you something very
Julie
fun.
will ask weird questions.
So sometimes gadgets are not great, but we don't really sell gadgets. We sell things that work really, really well. This is one of the hottest items. It's a garlic press. You just put the garlic in here, you press it, and you could do slivered garlic or minced garlic.
So you can adjust it to how you want. Okay.
Exactly.
Oh, how fun.
Exactly. But these are really the staples. And then around here, we work with a company called Green Farm, and they're a group of guys from Australia, and they decided to create a whole industry on not creating new product, but to make what's already on the market better.
Oh, wow.
So to that end, they've created things like this. This is called a Sharple, and it sharpens itself.
Oh, wow.
So you peel your carrot, and then you sharpen it. Feel that. You have to. When I buy this for people, I go, be very careful. And then it seals up, and you put it right in your drawer. So it's these kinds of things that are new items that people really love.
And make adjustments based on what they want to do.
Yeah, exactly. And then we have all of our sourdough and baking supplies, all of our grilling. People love to grill outdoors here in Arizona. Many people, as you know, are putting secondary kitchens in their patio. And,
really? I did not know.
Yeah.
Well, wait a minute. Now that you say that, so one of my BFFs, they basically put a second kitchen outside.
Oh yeah, I wish I had one. I wish I had 2 or 3 kitchens outside. Come here, I want to show you one more thing. So, Italian pasta makers walks, and then we have all of the beautiful linens and bowls and pots and pans and plates and utensils and everything that you need to entertain. And this is the hottest item in the country right now for cooking. So these are called geometry towels. I'm sure that if you have one, you know exactly what I'm talking about. They are absolutely beautiful, and they're made out of 3.5 recycled plastic bottles.
Really?
So they're wonderfully absorbent. They don't stain. They're gigantic. They're absolutely beautiful to have in your kitchen. They've made a little hook here so you can just hang them.
Okay, before I leave, I'm going to get one.
Everybody says that, and you know what happens? I'm going to warn you, you're not going to be able to stop buying them.
Oh.
Because you're going to buy them for everybody that you know because they work so well. And now they've come out with little kitchen dishcloths. But the geometry towels are the biggest rage in the country right now.
Which, to your point, is a trend.
A huge trend, and it's natural. I mean, recycled plastic bottles and how they've managed to make them look so beautiful. It's incredible, isn't
You know,
it?
it makes me think what the Hickmans are doing. Did you know that they're taking plastic, like Coke bottles or whatever, and they're then recycling them and turning them into egg cartons? I don't know
They
if you,
are?
Yeah, I
No,
don't know.
that's fabulous.
There's their whole production, and one of the sons manages the whole recycling business.
That's amazing.
And
Good for them.
Pretty much everything they do, like the chicken poop, they turn into fertilizer.
I know, that's it.
So
That's right.
they're closed
Nothing
loop.
is wasted.
Yeah, closed
Yeah.
loop. Jan, I can't thank you enough.
Absolutely,
This was awesome.
Joy. It's so good to see
And
you.
I'm so glad that we connected like this because we needed to catch up. I
Yes,
think we
we did.
waited too long.
Too long.
Yeah.
And so we're going to sign you up for a class before
Okay.
you leave.
Yes.
Yes.
I
You guys
promise.
make her honest.
And we'll do a follow-up and we'll see how well I did. All right, to everyone that joined us, blessings to you as always. Thank you for joining us on Talk to a Farmer Friday. By the way, we'll be on a week or two hiatus just because I finally am taking some vacation.
To take
But-
cooking classes.
Yes, to take cooking classes. I'm in. Yeah. And blessings to everybody. But watch, because this cooking series is going to be going on for a while, and we may come back here because it'd be fun to interview some of the other chefs that teach, because so many of them, like you, have such amazing backgrounds. Again, blessings to everyone. We'll talk soon. Take care.
Bye.